Okay, today's video, we're going to go over how to actually predict what a lead would cost from Google Ads, running your Google Ads for your business itself. If you're doing e-commerce, this video is also going to talk about how to predict how much a sale will cost on Google Ads the same way for your guys' businesses as well. With that, of course, how much you're ultimately, and figuring out how much you're paying for a sale through doing e-commerce, we can figure out based upon your average how much your product sells for, what the average ROI from a campaign running Google Ads will be. And so with all that said, this is very good information to know starting out. If you're going to start running ads on Google Ads, before you ever start, of course, a lot of you guys need to know this information just to know if it's worth it. Should I even waste my time, or is it worth it for me to even run Google Ads for my business? Does it work in my market? I'm going to cover all that in this particular video. That said, lots of people try running Google search ads without knowing what they should do, and in these scenarios, the campaigns often fail. So I'll just start off by saying, and I've said this in other videos, 90% of people who try Google Ads fail, okay? The reason for this is most of the time it comes down to they have unrealistic expectations about not so much just what the Google Ads platform can do, but what they need to be able to do for Google or with their ads, so to say, to actually make their ads work. The average person comes on, oh, Google Ads. And see maybe an ad for Google Ads that's spurs the idea to go ahead and finally set up an ad for themselves. They were wondering, Google Ads, maybe it works, maybe it don't for a long time. They go in, they set up their Google Ads account. Oh, what is the name of your business? What is the website you would like to promote? What would you like if on your ad that people see on Google? What would you like them to say? And then they get to the end of the process. And they go, oh, now I'm going to get rich. All kinds of people are searching on Google search, and now my ad's there for these people that are going to buy your product. The money's just going to come pouring in. And then they get a sale. They're happy about it. Next week, they get another sale. They're happy about it. But, damn, they're hitting my bank account for money every other day now. And I know it's not, getting me... I'm not making that much back in terms of my sales already. And then what do? Oh, Google Ads doesn't work. Turn it off. And then that's the average person's experience with Google Ads, particularly the ones that don't make it work. You got to realize that everybody in your market knows what Google Ads is by now in 2022 and beyond. Everybody's tried it probably, or the people that are ever going to try it, they've tried it all already. The people who have wanted it to work with no effort, they all tried it and failed already. That's why you can get your ad on there, because ultimately if it was easy, other people would already be there and it wouldn't be such a good opportunity. You wouldn't be able to get on it at all. There would be established players there, which is why Google Ads is a great platform, because anybody who comes in with a good plan can knock out anybody that's there in your market. All you have to do, and this is the reality that people don't understand, is you got to actually do better than the other people that are there. Your ad has to have a higher click-through rate than 80% plus of the people there. And there's 10 people that cycle in and out of those top 4 ad spots on Google. And your landing page or page you take them to has to get a higher response rate to give that person what they came for in the first place than your competition side by side. And be in the top 20 or 10% there as well. To make Google want to promote your stuff and then charge you less per visitor to your site, which makes your ROI naturally go up. And if you do those two things, you basically make money. Google set the system up so that the top 20% makes most of the money. Everybody else makes little to nothing. So that everybody tries to try harder to give the people on Google, if they click on an ad, a better experience. So just to give you a general idea, the average client that we have at our PPC management firm, we're spending 100 hours of work up front just for a local company to do well on Google Ads in terms of the setup making special pages to send people to. The ads, making special ads for everything that people are searching for. Finding the hundreds of different ways that people search for the service in question, or potentially product if we're doing that. And setting up good tracking so we know what works, and what doesn't work, we know how to shut that part off. To be able to be in that top 20% and compete with people who have been there for years. So you come in thinking that you're going to just waltz in there and then within 15 minutes have something that's going to work amazingly, when all these people have spent potentially millions of dollars on their ads already before you in the last 5-10 years. It's ridiculous. You got to what makes it an opportunity is the ability for you to go in and do something better than most of the people there, and then Google want to promote your stuff, and you get more out of the traffic than other people. Regarding that, you should know what you should be paying to get a customer or a lead, if you want to say that. But even if you're generating leads, you should still know what your closing rates are, should be, what you should be paying for to get a customer through Google Ads before you start. I've mentioned this many times on this channel. And learning what's also possible with it up front before even starting the ads is a very good procedure for you to go through. So at the very least, you should be figuring out, okay, if I get this many leads and I close this many, I'll make this much money, this will pay for all my expenses, this is what I need, and therefore this is what I need to pay for a lead on Google Ads to make it all work. So when you start up your ads, you'll know if it's working or not working. And the same thing if you're doing e-commerce, you got to know what you got to pay to get a sale, and how many sales that you need to pay for the ad spend and all your product costs and everything else. Beyond that though, if you're a super stellar person, you can actually figure out ahead of time about what it will be what cost per lead is possible in your market with Google Ads for the average person, just by doing some basic math, which is what this video covers. The same thing can be done with the e-commerce side. You can figure out about what a sale is going to cost through Google Ads before you even start. So you can estimate what you need, but you can go further than that, and you can figure out about what Google will provide given the market rates for traffic in your niche or industry. Because Google publishes all this data and gives you this data so for people in this exact situation can kind of wrap their heads around, they have a plan carved out for their business before they want to run the ads, because there's some people that naturally just go this way. They want people to be able to have a look at about what might happen with it before they actually plunk down their money and start advertising and all that. And so with that all comes down to Google's tool, which is called the Google Keyword Tool. Within that Google Keyword Tool, by the way, there's all kinds of data that's going to lead to you knowing about what you're going to be about to be paying for, what it's going to cost per lead through Google Ads in your market or for a sale in your market itself. Here's what you do to evaluate Google Ads for your market to see what a cost per lead or a cost per sale might cost, so you know whether even you want to experiment with Google Ads at all for yourself or not. As a general just side disclaimer, no matter if it looks like it can work or not, Google Ads can work for anybody, and I do stand by that. As long as you put enough time and effort and money into it, you'll get it to work. And I don't mean money as in you spend $50,000 a month, of course you're going to get a lot of sales. No, I mean an actual profit. Money that covers your ad spend and all your expenses, because going back to what I said before, the top 10 to 20% make all the money, and the system is designed this way. Even if your competitors are bigger and have more money than you, if you can create a better experience for Google's users than them, Google will prefer to send the traffic to you, and you'll get more out of the traffic than them per dollar spent, and you will be the one that's at the top now. So it can look like it's a good value up front, but even if it's not, by looking at Google Keyword Tool and the numbers that they have, you could go ahead and approach it with the general viewpoint of, I'm going to make this work no matter what. I'm going to have the best ad, the best landing page to take people to, or best site to take people to, that'll work so smoothly for the user that my stuff will just work. Given Google doesn't charge more for their traffic, more for their clicks than the market can bear to spend. They charge as much as the top 20% can spend before they're losing money, and that's about where they set the market rates for the clicks. So if you just naturally get to the top 20% in terms of the efficiency of taking the user from search to what they came for from Google in the first place, you will be able to essentially always make money. Okay? Just want to throw that out there as well. But going back to figuring out what a cost per lead or cost per sale should be about costing you as you're starting out, the first thing you do is you pick out 5 terms representing things only people from your market search for before they go to buy something on Google Ads. So to give you an example, if it's a family law, since everybody knows what that is, a family law attorney, if I'm basically potentially going to hire a family law attorney, I might just type in family law attorney on Google. Some people that search that are going to be looking to hire an attorney. Some people who type that in are going to be looking for what is a family law attorney. So that's in and itself is a term you still go after, but it's questionable what the value of that traffic is. You have to be very careful what you pay for a visitor from that particular search or type of person that searches that, because it's going to have a lot of waste in it, but at the right price, you can actually afford the waste and ultimately still take advantage of the part of the traffic that is monetizable, if you will. But in this particular situation, what you're going to do here to figure out what your cost per lead or cost per sale is going to be, you pick out terms that are only, basically people that are looking to buy. In the family attorney law or family attorney example that I gave you, it would be people searching for family law attorney services, family law attorney firms, family law attorneys near me, that kind of stuff. Only terms basically 100% of the people searching for it, are going to be buying from somebody, maybe you, maybe somebody else in your market soon, and that's what they came to Google to find, essentially. Once you have 5 solid terms like that can only mean one thing, you go ahead and you use the Google keyword tool and type those keywords into the tool. Google keyword tool, by the way, is found inside your Google Ads account. In the top right hand corner of your screen, you click on the wrench icon, which is the tools and settings icon. Within there, you go to the Google keyword tool from the drop down. And within that, you can find out information. Google gives you this free information, even if you're not spending money on Google Ads. As another side note here, though, the people who spend nothing on Google Ads and uses the Google keyword tool, the data is not so accurate. As far as the rates per click are fairly accurate still, but the traffic numbers about how many people searching per month for the keywords you give it isn't that accurate, because they don't want to give away search volume data, as they call it, or amount of searches per search on Google or type of search on Google, because they don't want to give it away for free. If you're already spending a decent amount on Google, like you're spending at least $3,000 a month on Google, the data in terms of what they're searching gets more accurate, just as a side note. But we can pretty much count on, even if you've never spent a nickel on Google Ads, you create a Google Ads account, you don't spend anything on ads yet, you go ahead and go to the Google keyword tool, which is what it's designed for, and put in keywords that you can see about what the costs are going to be per click, and then you can run your numbers about what your cost per lead or cost per sale is going to be in your market after that. But with that, you type in your 4 keywords, and then if you're in a local market, or if you're in an international market, or outside the US, you're going to narrow down the geo-targeting feature of Google Keyword Tool, which is in the top part of the tool, to the geographic market you're exactly going to target. So if you're in Houston, make sure it says Houston County, or whatever the county is in Houston. For you guys that are in other countries, make sure it says your country, because the rate for traffic for the same exact keyword is a lot different from country to country, even if you're talking about between US and Canada. But especially from developing to non-developing countries, the cost per click can be 15 times more expensive in a developed country than it would be in another country, literally speaking. But with that, after you set your geographic market of where you're actually plan on going after customers from, and you have your 5 buying keywords in that tool, it's going to spit out what the average cost per click is going to be for people that type in those terms, which in general gives you the general idea of what a cost per click is going to be for all the terms you would target in general for your market, okay? And as a side note, again, if you're going to do PPC starting out, the average Joe that starts out doing it that fails, by the way, like I said, the 90% that fails and thinks they're going to spend 15 minutes on setting up an account, they're going to compete with the big boys, they'll go ahead and put in, like I said, like family law attorney, not family law attorney services and family law attorney firms, and just go after those, as they call it, long tail keywords, which they're already giving themselves a huge handicap, because it's harder to find out how to dial in those arbitrary terms that mean several things to get it profitable, because you have to set the bid, what you're willing to pay per click for that keyword, very precisely to make the math work. Whereas on the other terms, it's easier. You know what they're searching for. There's a less waste that's going to come through. When you start up your ads, it'll basically work right away, because there's not a lot of configuration to do with them. Start out with the long tail keywords only. Once you have those working, you're making money, you can reinvest into some of the keywords that are not so clear what people want all the time. That's just a general hack that will get your stuff working pretty much right away if you're doing lead generation versus not. But even for e-commerce businesses, it's the same way. Leather basketballs for sale versus leather basketballs. Big difference in those keywords. Go after the terms where it's clear what they want to buy only. When you find out what the cost per click is going to be roughly for a click in your market, going after the terms that are related to the actual terms you want to target, with that, you can look up the average conversion rate of a click for your specific industry on wordstream.com. So you can basically just type in WordStream on Google, WordStream average industry conversion rates, or average industry click conversion rates. You'll find, because wordstream.com puts this data out every year, because they have a SaaS or software company that is a software for Google Ads that, by the way, I don't stand behind, because the blog is amazing and all their data is amazing, but you could set up your own account 100 times better than you can get with WordStream. That's like better than barely better than no optimization at all. If you want to make money, given how most markets are competitive, you need to figure out how to do this stuff yourself. It's not going to be so turnkey easy. And if it was, everybody would be doing it. Nobody would be hiring anybody for help. Or, it would be saturated already and nobody else could get into Google Ads profitably. The rates in which Google would charge for ads would be more to take advantage of the fact that everybody's making money now, and then to weed out so that only the best people are making money again. So there's no shortcut for success. You have to put the bare minimum time in, basically. I mean, it doesn't have to be an overwhelming amount of work, but you got to put the basic time in to do more, come to the table with more than what the average Joe Schmo is trying to do with their ads. But you can anyway, got off on a tangent there, you can go to that WordStream and find out, for if you're in family law or just legal in general, it'll say about what the conversion rates are for legal, which is about 7 or 8% of the traffic that the average lawyer gets will convert from, at least from ads on Google Ads, to a phone call or a contact form fill, which is what they mean by lead or conversion rates. And so once you figure out, okay, my industry, it's about 8%, I take that times the cost per click of $18. You take, of course, with that, you do the math, and then you find out, okay, well, my lead's going to cost about $116 or whatnot. That's not the math there exactly. Assuming, let's just say the conversion rate was 10%, of course, that we found on wordstream.com for legal, and the cost per click was $10. And so the cost per lead now, do the math, $100 per lead. From that, now, we can analyze going further, go through our books, open up our books, find out of all the calls that we got, looking at the call logs for the last 3 years, and the amount of business we had come in for the last 3 years, about how many phone calls, i.e. leads, turned into signed contracts. And then we could see then what our close rates are on leads in general, which that's not leads from Google Ads, which it's not the perfect data, but it's better than nothing. It's better than nothing to give you confidence when you go in to run Google Ads that you don't panic right away. You stick with it. I know if I get $100 a lead, this will pay off. And you look at that, and that specifically, not, oh, my bank account's not going up. Oh, should I shut it off? Should I shut it off? Should I shut it off? Because that's what the average person's doing that doesn't make it work. Because things are going to take time to work. You'll stick with it. You'll go after a singular goal. You won't panic. And you won't shut it off right before you're at the finish line, essentially. But that gives you a general idea about, if you're doing lead generation, what a lead will cost. And then from there, you can see about what your ROI on your campaign is going to be, because you can look at your close rates on other leads that you get and what your average case size is going further. And then, of course, with your average case size and the number of cases that you should be able to get on, let's say, $1,000 invested into Google Ads, you could see about what your ROI will be. If you get just the industry average conversion rate on your ads that other people report to get through that WordStream data that I showed you can analyze. Okay, so that's the general gist of what you should do starting out. Before you even run the ads, or most people, let's just face it, they're just going to do what they're going to do. They're going to run their ads, they're going to try it for 2 weeks or a month. It doesn't work, shut off their ads. You're curious to try it again. Maybe you just didn't do something right. Start out by doing all this math ahead of time. Then figure out how to set up a campaign that can actually make a better ad and a better landing page than your competition. If you don't know what that is, you're going to have to consult somebody who does this every day so they can tell you if it's actually better. Then go back at it. Have your tracking set up so you can see if you got your, what you need for a lead, what a cost per lead that you need, if $100 or whatever. And then once you get over that hump, you're home free. It's a downhill slide from there. It's going to get more and more profitable. Your lead cost is going to get less and less, or at least maintain what you got, and it'll be profitable for years and years after that, generally speaking. So whatever you do up front to have to get over that profitability hump where the ads are starting to pay for themselves, you make it all back 100 times fold later on. So it's highly valuable to know what you need to get, track it, figure out what's going to make your ads better, and then do that. For e-commerce businesses, and just to take a step backwards here, if WordStream carries data, they have 10,000 plus people using WordStream or whatever. I don't know the exact number, but it's basically thousands and many thousands. They have data on many, many companies, many, many industries, but they don't have data about the average industry conversion rate for every industry if you're doing lead generation. So if you want to know what the conversion rate is for your industry, contact our firm at guaranteedppc.com. I'll be able to step in and tell you what the conversion rate is for your industry, basically speaking, because we worked on hundreds of accounts too. And even if we haven't worked in your exact industry, we could give you the equivalent. Of course, on WordStream, you could try to find the equivalent. But to be sure of yourself, we can tell you about what the equivalent will be looking at the most. Because for lead generation, like B2B and professional services, they're all kind of the same. And for like home services at a certain price range, they're kind of all the same. So we understand that. We can tell you what that number is for what you could expect for an average conversion rate in your industry, given you're doing the average amount of work. Okay, so, but if you're in the e-commerce space, and along with what I just said about, like pricing, there's like a law involved with online marketing in general. The higher your product or service price is, the lower your average expected conversion rate from click to lead or click to sale is going to be. Because there's more uncertainty, it's harder to get somebody to convince to buy. There's usually more competition in those markets. There's just more that has to be done in the sales process in terms of following up, where it can go wrong. People have more money, or they have more ability to buy when you're selling something cheaper, whereas if it's more expensive, they have to save up a lot of times. There's a lot of factors that just keep chipping away at the conversion rate you can expect on what your clicks will convert at the higher the price of product or service you have. So for doing lead generation, of course, your leads might be cheap, but the amount of people that converted to a sale is going to keep going down and down and down. So the lead cost may be similar in general, but what happens there is the conversion rate from lead to sale goes down. In an e-commerce world, the actual conversion rate of click to sale, since you can track that, click to people checking out through the cart or calling and then ordering from there, you're going to get less and less and less from a click the higher and higher the product price is. So to figure out what the industry average, if you will, or what the expected conversion rate from a click will be if you're in an e-commerce space, you mainly look at the price, because industry to industry, there's no base standards. What you have to look at is what's the price of the product. And if you didn't know that, or if it wasn't said out there, I'm saying it. For some reason, not many people say this, but this is pretty much a fundamental law as far as I'm concerned. I've never seen it where it's not the case. The only difference would be, assuming that you're the only person in your market doing it and there's extreme demand and laws of physics are broken there. But in general, in normal everyday circumstances, the more the product price is, the higher, or the lower the conversion rate is going to be. And to give you a general idea of what your conversion rate will be in an e-commerce capacity, I have this table drawn out here so you kind of know what that is. With that said, if you're in the $0 to $100 price range of the product that you're selling, you could expect about an 8% conversion rate. Now this isn't exact science, but this gets you generally close. So you can kind of see what a sale is going to cost, and then you can see at your average value per sale of what your average checkout value is, what you're going to be getting, what you're going to ultimately be paying to generate $1 of revenue from Google Ads from this, having this hidden number that you can't find online or anywhere else. If you're in the $100 to $200 price range for your products that you're selling, and this goes on average, right? If you have a lot of different price products, just average it out. Or of the stuff you're promoting, average it out what the average product's selling at to get your general number of what a conversion rate should be in your kind of industry. $100 to $200 range, though, it's 5%. So it drops a lot just going from 50 to 150. And with that, if you go to $200 to $300 range, you're at 4% already. And it keeps going down. So it drops drastically as you're going from 0 to 100 to 100 to 200. It drops slower as you go from 100 to 500. In general, and this is based upon, I've seen hundreds of e-commerce accounts in the last 15 years. $200 to $300 range, you're at 4%, but $300 to $400, you're already down to about 3%. $400 to $500, you're already down to like 2%. If you're in the $500 to $1,000 range, you're already down to 0.5 to 1%. And this is assuming you're not doing a bunch of idiotic things. You still have to be doing as good as the average person with your ads and your website sales ability or salesmanship of your website in terms of how trustworthy it looks, how the ease of getting the information you need from it. And with that, if you're in the $1,000 to $5,000 price range for your products, you're already down at 0.1 to 0.5%. So realistically, it may look easier to sell a more expensive product on Google Ads. It's really not. It's all just relevant. It's all directly linked to the conversion rate. So you're paying about the same percentage to get a sale, assuming all things are equal and every market's got the equal amount of competitiveness to it, which generally speaking, I'll give you a general idea of selling more expensive products on Google is better and easier because you have less competition. You got a lot of marketing guys like me who will buy a bunch of, BB guns from China and get a crate of them and sell them through a website that they own. And that's easy to do. But when it comes to selling industrial equipment, that's not so easy to do. I need a warehouse now. I need to know something about industrial equipment. You're best going after something that's more expensive. And going further, if you have in-depth knowledge of a specific topic out there, like RC aircraft, do that, because your edge that other people can't do that is talk to people on the phone and do sales on the phone, at least at first, until you're at a couple, 3-4 million a year already in sales, you could talk to that person in their own language, and they'll buy from you because of that, and they'll go, you know, start to come your general direction in general in your market because of that. And the fact that you could do customer service afterwards, that's not just send it back and that's it. So, but with all those factors concerned, your conversion rate is just pretty much going to be different based upon the product price and, you know, respectively. That just makes sure the marketing cost in terms of what you're selling is somewhat similar across the board. It's just you're going to have more clicks to sell a more expensive item. So anyway, but that tells you, of course, how you can figure out what a cost per sale would be in your market, given that you got the hidden data that you need to figure that out. You got the data from Google about how much you pay for a click. You got the data about what it's going to cost or how many clicks you're going to have to buy to get a sale. And if you want to go further and see what your ROI is going to be, you just figure out what your average product sale price is going to be, and then, you know, divide that by how many, what the cost of those clicks you now know you need to buy is going to be to find out what your average ROI is going to be. And the leads, the same thing. Like I said, you look at your close rates per lead on average, and you can figure out what your cost per sale is going to be, or cost per sale, sorry, and then what your ROI is going to be, because you can divide what you know the cost of the clicks are going to be and how many clicks you need, divided by what your average contract value that you are from the service that you're selling or whatnot, and figure out what your ROI is going to be. This gives you some really good information to be confident about doing Google Ads, going in, seeing what the potential return is, and knowing that if you just don't screw it up, you're at least going to get this much. Going further than that, you can double, triple what that average number is going to be in terms of the ROI if you get into that top 10% of the people who, again, gives the user the best experience in terms of what they see on your ads and what they see on your website in terms of a website that's attractive and trustworthy and everything to order from. And so maybe the ROI is not that great for you looking at the averages, so you stop, you convene with your team or whatever, and you figure out, you look at the ads that are there on Google now, you figure out how to make a better ad, going back to what I said before. You look at their websites or the page they're taking people to, you figure out how to make a better one, then you go after it, and then with your tracking, you know you're going to need the goal that you're going to need, and within usually 30 to 90 days, you can at least know, if you don't have the exact numbers you want yet, you can see if it's going to be possible to hit the number you need. And then once you get to that point, you should be jumping up and down for joy, because you know, okay, I'm going to get to profitability. It's clear we're close, because you're going to have millions of dollars in long-term profit having a system set up that can convert a Google Ads click into a sale at a better rate than your competition are, because that's just how it goes. That's the golden prize at the end of all of this. This is why you go through all the blood, sweat, and tears to go through this process to figure out how to hit your numbers and be more efficient than everybody else, because that's what ultimately you can see in even a halfway sizable market or niche Google Ads can actually provide. So in general, that's how you figure out what a cost per lead or cost per sale is going to be from Google Ads. Search market, I didn't talk about Google Ads, display ads, so that's why I specified search ads here, but that's how you do it for search ads. Same kind of process can work for other online advertising channels. Maybe I'll talk about that at some other point, but that's it for this particular video and this particular topic. If you liked the video, I would really appreciate it if you would give it a like and consider subscribing to this channel, because I have a ton of other videos about actual PPC strategies on this channel that'll help you get the actual better campaign you need to be at the top, 10% of your market. It's the best advice in terms of strategy anywhere on YouTube as far as I've seen, and the reason why I made this channel. If you have any questions or comments about how to figure out your cost per lead or cost per sale, or maybe your industry conversion rates, you can leave me a comment below as well. I get back to every single person who leaves me a comment on this channel, usually within a day or two time. And I hope to also see you in my next video that comes out another day or two with another great PPC strategy / topic that you need to know to make money with online advertising / PPC ads. And with that, we'll wrap it up with that. See you there.